Hey everyone, and welcome back to my S-Rank series for Cuphead. Today is going to run a bit longer than my other guides have, because I'm taking on King Dice. In the spirit of being thorough, I'm going to show you my strategies for going hitless against every mini-boss in his arsenal. Then I'll give you some general tips and tricks and show you the run that got me the S-Rank. If there's one boss in particular you want to see, or you just want to see my recommendations for the S-Rank run, check the description for the timestamps. I'll make sure to put in chapters so that you can focus on just the information that you need. With all that being said, there's a lot of ground to cover here, so let's get to it. For the setup, I'm going to take the roundabout for the primary like I usually do, then the chaser will be my secondary. I'll be taking Super Art 1 for the damage, and most importantly, I'll be taking the Smoke Bomb charm. There are several mini-bosses that become completely trivial if you have it, so trust me on this. The first thing we should talk about is the setup of the fight. If you haven't seen it before, you roll the die by hitting parry on it, and then you will move that number of spaces on the board. Each of the red numbers represents another mini-boss that you'll have to fight before you can roll again. The die can only roll up to 3 spaces at max, and the pattern is 3 red numbers, then a safe space, rinse and repeat until you get to the end. The only exception is the start over space right before the end. It's a devious little mechanic, but it's easily avoided once you get used to how to roll the dice. Speaking of the dice, you can plan your path through the board by controlling which number you roll. First find the number that you want to roll. Now pay attention to the number that shows up directly after the one that you want. If you jump up when that number appears, the die should rotate twice before you come back down. Hit the die on your descent and you should get the number you're looking for. If you play it right, you should only have to fight 3 mini-bosses before you take on King Dice himself, and you can even choose which ones you're going to face. On one final note, each group of 3 bosses will have a heart placed randomly above one of the numbers. If you land on it, it'll give you an extra hit point, and it can even take you above your current maximum. This will come into play when I show you how to go for the S rank, but for now, let me show you the mini-bosses in order, starting with number 1. Boss number 1 is the Tipsy Troupe, which is technically 3 bosses. Each of them has exactly 1 attack. The Martini Glass summons olive ads that float across the top of the screen and occasionally fire eyeballs at you. The eyeballs move pretty slowly though, so it isn't a major obstacle. The ads will also go down after a single shot, so just take them out whenever you see them. The whiskey bottle in the back row will spill liquor in a vertical line that forms wherever you were when the attack activated, so you just have to step to the side. The most dangerous attack comes from the whiskey glass, though calling even this dangerous might be generous. He'll spill across the floor, so you'll have to jump over the liquor. Watch for him to raise his foot, then jump up and dash over the spill as soon as you see him moving forward. Boss number 2 is Chip's Bettigan. If you've ever played the classic Mega Man games, you should know this attack pattern very well. For those of you that don't have Yellow Devil PTSD, after a while the chips will separate and the stacks will take turns moving to the other side of the arena. Normally you would have to jump through the gaps as they move across, but because I brought the Smoke Bomb, I'm just going to duck and wait for the bottom chip to move. If I Smoke Bomb past it and maintain the duck, I don't have to worry about anything else. Beyond that, you just have to keep hitting his head until the battle is over. Boss number 3 is Mr. Wheezy, clearly the hardest choice of the initial group, and one that I would advise you to avoid during the S-Rank run. He shoots fireballs that move in a swirling pattern across the screen. Jump over these when they're at the bottom of the circle, then follow them as they pass to avoid getting hit by the next incoming shot. Repeat this until he stops shooting. Now eventually he's also going to turn to ash, which signifies that he's moving to the other side of the arena. You'll have to jump the gap, making sure not to hit the cigarettes that fly up through the middle. With the Smoke Bomb, you can just dash through them, of course. Then his mechanics will repeat until you defeat him. Boss number 4 is Pip and Dot. There are 3 obstacles to look out for here. The conveyor belt will constantly be moving towards the spiked wall, so you'll have to run to the right while jumping over any additional spikes that can spawn on the floor. The boss will occasionally spawn D20s that bounce diagonally through the room, which may throw off the timing of your jumps, but they don't do much else. Some of these can even be parried, so feel free to go for the extra special generation. Lastly, they can spawn bird dominoes that fly around the boundary of the arena. You'll have to take these out to give yourself some more breathing room, just be advised that they take multiple shots to bring down. Keep weaving through these attacks until the boss is down. Boss number 5 is Hopus Pocus, which is my personal favorite of the second group. This boss only has 2 attacks. In the first, he'll create a circle of skulls around you. One skull will be missing from the circle every time, so when it stops spinning, you would normally have to find the gap and run through it before the others close in on you. With the smoke bomb though, this attack is laughably easy to avoid. You'll just have to dash through the skulls whenever they stop spinning. The only other attack creates a series of card symbols along either the top or the bottom of the screen, and they'll move to the opposite side after a brief delay. Find the one that can be parried and destroy it to make it through without damage. Keep firing from the platform and this boss will be done in no time. Boss number 6 is Phear Lap. I think this one's doable, but if you don't like airplane battles, you may want to avoid this one. There's only 2 mechanics to look out for in this fight. Watch for the horsemen at the bottom that are wearing cloaks. When they get beneath you, they'll fly to the top of the screen, so dash past them whenever you see them. Phear Lap himself will toss presents that explode into horseshoes that fire in all directions after a little while. As long as you give yourself enough space from the origin point, you should be able to weave through the projectiles. Otherwise, you can look for the one that's parryable and go through that way. That's actually it for the attacks, but the hidden enemy here is obviously the stupid foreground. It will constantly obscure your view of what's happening on the field, because I guess this mini-boss just wasn't annoying enough without it. Boss number 7 is Pirouletta. This is another one that's laughable if you brought the smoke bomb, making her my preferred choice of the final group. She only has 2 attacks. For the first, she summons roulette balls that fall from the ceiling, kind of like the planks in the fight against the cat phase of Werner Vermin, just a little bit faster. Just dash through those gaps and you're good to go. Her only other mechanic has her moving repeatedly from side to side. Normally you would have to parry the chips to give yourself temporary platforms and jump over her, but of course I'm just going to dash past her and keep shooting. Boss number 8 is Mangosteen. I feel like this one would be easy no matter what loadout you have, to be honest. I only prefer Pirouletta because in my experience she can be defeated a little bit faster. Mangosteen calls in chalk from the sides of the arena. Just walk right under them when they jump up. They delay for a bit before falling back down, so you have plenty of time to do it. Every so often he'll fire a ball of energy at you, so just sidestep it when it goes off. Keep up the offense and the boss will be beaten soon enough. The last boss is number 9, Mr. Chimes. I can't recommend ever going to this boss, not because he's difficult, but because he takes way too long to beat. In an S-rank run, the time limit is the hardest part to hit, so taking on this boss instead of Pirouletta or even Mangosteen is just foolish. Seriously, don't do it. Since we're already here though, let me give you the rundown anyway. First, in order to wake up the boss, you have to parry the cards in the background until you get a match. Then he'll play his symbols until you do enough damage to deactivate him. Repeat this process until all the cards have been used and then the fight is over. He doesn't have any attacks that are a major concern really, he just kind of bounces around the arena and when he plays the symbols it fires projectiles at every diagonal and horizontally. None of this is especially difficult to dodge, it's just kind of a pain to keep up the damage on him since he can move all the way to the left side of the screen. Now for King Dice. When you finally reach the end of the board, you'll have to take him out too before the fight's over. The good news is that he only has one attack, but the bad news is that it's really easy to make a mistake. He'll summon a long line of cards, some of which can be parried. You'll have to jump up to the pink cards and keep parrying them until the cards stop appearing. So I hope you're good at timing those parries, because you really don't have a choice here. Unfortunately, I never did capture any footage of doing this part perfectly. I always made at least one mistake before the boss fight was done. As long as you're collecting hearts on your way here, though, that shouldn't be a problem. Keep up the damage, and point your special in the right direction, and the fight will finally be complete. That's it for the bosses, so now we have to string it all together into one perfect run. There are some very important general tips to keep in mind when you're going for S. First, you want to plan your route. As I understand it, each mini-boss that you fight adds another minute to the time requirement. So if you're just fighting 3 total, then King Dice himself, you should have 4 minutes to finish the fight. That means that you need to plan a route that will take the least amount of time, because that's not a lot of leeway. Personally, I recommend taking on bosses 2, 5, and 7. Now 2 and 7 I would call non-negotiable because of how fast you can take them out. If you're going to compromise on one, I think you could replace 5 with 4 or maybe even 6 if either of those make you more comfortable. The other major thing to consider, however, is the randomly generated hearts that are placed at the start. If you collect all 3 of them, it makes hitting the heart requirement way easier. You'll be able to take 3 hits without missing S rank, and if you've been following along, you should know exactly how to get through the mini-bosses without taking damage at all, which would leave you with plenty of room for error once King Dice activates. So I recommend hitting retry on the fight until you get 2 and 7 with hearts at minimum. You can keep going until you get 5 in there also, but like I said, that one can be compromised if you're comfortable with that. Since I did the boss rundowns already, there should be no more explanation needed. So here's the S rank run in its entirety. Let the games begin.
A brawl is surely brewing. And begin! A brawl is surely brewing. It's on. A great slam and then some. Now go! A brawl is surely brewing. You're up.
And that, my friends, is the end of King Dice. There's a lot of information to take in here, but once you have it figured out, it's not actually as daunting a task as it seems at first. So now it's your turn. Go show this guy who's boss. And as always, if you found this video helpful, be sure to leave a like or comment before you go to help boost the channel. And consider subscribing to see similar videos from me in the future. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you again next time.